Good morning, grade sixes, and welcome back. I've been mulling over a quote this morning, and I thought I'd share it with you. It's from Viktor Frankl, and it says, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to bear one's own way." And another one is, "Those who have a why to live can bear with almost any how." So I just want to encourage you this morning that, yes, we're in lockdown and it seems never ending, but there's one thing that you can choose. So even though some of your freedom has been taken away, you can choose your attitude in the lockdown. And I really encourage you to read through things, meditate if that's something that you would like to do. I do that, I pray. What do you need to do to help that attitude of yours stay strong and positive? And then the second part of that was, those who have a why to live can bear with any how. So in other words, if you know why you're doing something, you can bear with the how that you have to go through to get there. So why do you want to come onto WorksheetCloud and maintain your academic work? Because you want to make sure that you're up to scratch so that you can go to the next grade, make sure that you're learning and growing and you're not stagnant. That's the why. You want to make sure that your academics are strong. So how you're going to do that is by going onto some platform like this, like WorksheetCloud, listening to your teacher, completing activities. So you can go through those activities and listen to this video every day, because your why is that you want to get better and be on top of your work. And so I really encourage you today, have a great attitude. Today is a good day to have a great day. So let's jump right in. Right, we're looking at our daily starter as we always do, and then we're going to look at punctuation, and specifically we're looking at our commas. And I love that. Do you comma here often? Right, so let's take a look. Instead of doing our normal daily starter, I thought we'd start with a word of the day. And the word of the day today is regurgitate. And I love that word, just the way it sounds on my tongue. So regurgitate means to be taken in and partially digested, and then you bring it back up. So everything specifically about a bird, a mommy bird will fly away, go find some worms or some other delicious insects, and then fly back to the nest. It's partially digested in her mouth, and then she regurgitates it back up into the mouths of her little babies. I know it sounds really gross, but it's important that they get that food, and that's one of the ways that a bird does that. And then I hope that you're not doing the second one, and I've put this picture here. Consume, hold, regurgitate, repeat, and then the person says, "What did you do today?" Because that's what he did. And basically, consume, eat the information, hold it in your brain, chew on it, vomit it out in a test or a task, and then you repeat the whole thing again the next day. I hope that's not you. As the other person says, there are more positive ways to look at education, Jeremy. So just as we're talking about our positive attitudes, to regurgitate, we don't want you just to go through these lessons, digest everything, and then just vomit it out on the worksheet. Try and make sure that you're applying it to other aspects of your writing or the work that you are doing. Right, and hopefully you will be able to use that word today. Try and impress mom and dad with regurgitate. Except don't use it as in, "Mom, I want to regurgitate your supper," or the supper you made. Please don't do that. Right, let's take a look. So we're looking at commas. Why is the comma so important? Well, there's two ways, and look at this picture. It says punctuation saves lives. So you can say, "Let's eat grandma." In other words, let's take grandma and eat her. Or you're talking to grandma and you say, "Let's eat grandma." So a very different way in which to use a sentence without commas and with commas. That's why commas are so important. They can change a sentence completely. So let's look at the rules, and you really do need to know them. And that's the part where you digest it and know it. But we don't want you just to vomit it back. We want you to understand when to use it so that you can apply it to your writing. And I love this as well. The comma is wait, and the question mark what? Exactly what they're used for. The comma is used to pause, and a question mark is to ask what is going on. So your first rule is to use commas to separate words or groups of words in a sentence. So look at number 1, and I don't know why I've numbered them all number 1. We bought apples, pears, and carrots today. Can you see there's a series of words, and we've put in commas. Apples, comma, pears, comma, and carrots today. Sometimes it's not necessary to put this comma in here because the and can stand as a comma as well. The next one, Janet promised that she would be a good girl, comma, that she would not bite her brother, comma, and that she would not climb onto the table. So that's a series of clauses. Can you see? So it wasn't just words like apple, pears, carrots. It was she would be a good girl, she would not bite her brother, and she would not climb on the table. And then the last one, the teacher looked in her basket, comma. She also looked through her desk and around the classroom for the lost book. So there's also a series of phrases. So let's now put that into practice. So what I want you to do is I want you to use the commas to separate words or groups of words by looking at these questions number 1 to 7. So pause the video and then we'll come back and go through it together. See how you've done. So number 1. They are going to eat, comma, talk and watch a movie. Remember I said you could have put a comma in here, although it's really not necessary when there's an and, because it also serves as a pause. Number 2, I went to the party to laugh, comma, have fun and talk with my friend. Good. Number 3, Sam and William are the hardest working students, comma, complete all their work and have good manners. Number 4, the leopard, comma, giraffe and hippo are my favorite animals at the Kruger Park. Number 5, on Monday, I walked the dogs, comma, cleaned my room, and finished my homework. Do you see there? Walked the dogs is one clause, cleaned my room, and finished my work. One part of a sentence. Number 6, all the men, comma, women, and children stood up to cheer our president. And number 7, today my mom bought groceries, comma, washed the clothes, comma, ironed dad's shirt, and baked a cake. Wow, superwoman. So those were quite easy. I hope you got those fairly, well, most of them correct because they were fairly easy. The second rule is to use a comma before a coordinating conjunction. So these are your coordinating conjunctions, and a way to remember them is like a fanboys. So I just keep that in my mind as something that I've got. For and nor, but, or, yet, so, fanboys. So try and, just like your tables, 8 times 7 is 56, try and remember fanboys. Then you know where to put the comma, and they come before. So let's look at number 1. He walked down the street, comma, and. There we go. And is a coordinating conjunction. Number 2, you can go shopping with me, or you can go to a movie alone. There's the or. So for and nor, but, or, yet, so. So now let's give you a chance to try them. So as you can see, there are 7. I want you to find for and nor, but, or, yet, so. So pause the video, maybe write down fanboys on your piece of paper, and then pause, and we'll come back and go through it again. All right. How did you do? Let's take a look. Number 1, you will have to complete your work, or you will not get to play basketball. For and nor, but, or. There's the or. Number 2, Sherry wanted to learn, but she couldn't hear because other kids were talking. There's the but, so you put it in front of it. For and nor, but. There's your fanboys. Number 3, John likes to fish and Stephen likes to ride bikes. That's an easy one because you know with and it can come before. Number 4, Jerry enjoys studying at home, but sometimes it is too noisy. So there's the but as well, like number 2. Number 5, we will have to be on time, or else they will not let us in the gates. And there's the same one as the first one, the or. They are very reliable, but the other group is not. And number 7, Miss James likes to teach, comma, and Mr. Washington likes to paint the school walls. I hope you've got those quite easily. Let's look at rule number 3 and number 4. So far, just to recap, you've got one that just has separates items like bread, milk, and chocolate. Bread, comma, milk. There's ones that separate specific series of phrases. I went to the shop and I bought some clothes, comma, cashed a check, comma, collected the groceries and went home. And then we're looking now at number 3. Use a comma to show additional information. So brackets or dashes can also be used here. and we'll do that in another lesson on punctuation. But here we go, take number 1, Ronaldo. Ronaldo, comma, the famous soccer player, comma, scored the winning goal. So do you see the extra information? I'm telling you who Ronaldo is. So Ronaldo, and then in brackets is who he is, the famous soccer player, scored the winning goal. If we're just talking about some art teacher or person, like Ronaldo, we know is quite famous, but it doesn't matter if it's just somebody art like myself. Mrs. Hudson, comma, a grade 7 teacher, comma, loves watching Netflix. So do you see that we put who Mrs. Hudson is, a grade 7 teacher? We could have put my mom, comma, Mrs. Van der Merwe, comma. So I gave you extra information about who my mom is. Rule number 4, use after introductory words in direct speech. We've already done a lesson on direct speech, as you'll remember. So look at number 1, Bill said, I will meet her. And remember, before we separate who's speaking from what they're saying with a comma. Bill said, comma, I will meet her. And again, the second one, Joanne asked, comma, can I come with? So far we've done 4 rules. I know we're going quite fast, but if you think about it, just try and make sure that you're understanding each one on its own. So individual words, a series of words, when we give extra information, and then with direct speech. Right, let's look at the next one. Commas are used to separate repeated words. This one is quite easy because if you go, whatever you want to say it now, you don't quite hear or understand the way in which the sentence should be written. So it's whatever you want to say it now. That's quite an easy one. And I love this one. Unless you, and unlike you and the other letters, I'm always pushed to the end of sentences. So that's your full stop, feeling a little bit bullied by the rest of the punctuation marks. And then rule 6, commas are used after introductory words or mild interjections. Like if you go, wow, that's an interjection, or yay. So yes, comma, I am unrealistic. So after the word yes or no, or in this one, when you're addressing somebody, Bob, comma, why don't you help me? So there's 2 ways in which you can use just an individual word on its own. And then obviously let's slow down here for a second. That's what a comma does. It makes you pause. We better just stop right now. Well, we're not going to do that, unfortunately, because we're moving right along. All right. So the last rule is commas are used when writing a date. So for example, if you want to write the 27th of March, comma, and then the year 2020, that can also be used. So let's see now if we can put this into practice. So I want you to take a look at this one. You've got to find 7 missing commas. So before we do that, I'm going to just scroll back like I would in class. I'm just going to go back to our rules so you can go through them again. So let's just look quickly. Right, so the first rule is separates words or phrases. So you can see they're like individual words, apples, comma, pears, or it's groups of words. She would be a good girl, comma, she would not bite her brother. So that's the rule number 1. Then we've got rule number 2, which is with coordinating conjunctions, the fanboy. So he walked down the street, comma, and then you can go shopping with me, or. Then our rule number 3 is to show additional information. So who are you talking about? Cyril Ramaphosa, comma, our South African president, comma, and you could end the rest of the sentence. So you see I told you who he was. And then after introductory words, Mom shouted, comma, come and get your washing. So that's rule number 3. And then, sorry, did I skip one? Rule number 4, sorry, is there as well. And then rule number 5, commas are used to separate repeated words. That one was easy. And then the last 2, commas are used after words or introductory words or interjections like wow, yes, and saying somebody's name as a question and asking them something. And then our last one, when writing a date. So let's take a look at this exercise. So I want you to pause. It would be great if you wrote the whole thing out. I know it is quite tedious, but it is a good exercise to do. Otherwise, it's difficult to see where you've done it. So just try and see how you go, and when we come back, we'll go through it. Right, here we go. Okay, Tuesday after our second break, comma, we are having our final maths task. Our teacher, now I want to know who she is, there's the extra information, comma, Miss Crom, comma, loves maths. She said, comma, there's your direct speech separated from who's talking, what they're saying. I really want everyone to prepare for this task. The students agreed that they would study. The teacher told them they would need to study multiplication, comma, a list, division and fractions. The student knew that Ms. Crom always lets them know which topics would be in the task. If the students studied these concepts, comma, they would do well. Oddly enough, comma, there are always some students who never study before a task. So those last two sentences were quite tricky. I'm wanting to see that if you read it, see where you need to take a breath. If the students studied these concepts, they would do well. Oddly enough, there are always some students who never study before a task. So if in doubt, also read through the paragraph to see how you're doing. Right, you can't just do it once, so we need to check it again. So I want you to take a look at this one, and I want you to find 17 missing commas, including starting from the very top here, the 4th of April, all the way to the bottom. So pause, and then we'll go through it when you're finished. Right, how did you do? So there was the date one, the 4th of April, comma, 2020. Then we look at the second line over here. Tonight, comma, when tonight, after school, comma, we have our final soccer game of the season. So do you see that was extra information? Our coach, comma, Mr. Monroe, also extra information. Who's your coach? You're giving me who he is. Mr. Monroe has stated, comma, there's your direct speech. So I'm trying to find my cursor. There, you're separating what he's saying from who's saying it. So Mr. Monroe is saying this, and then we've separated what he's saying by a comma. The game started. We knew if we played aggressively, comma, we would lose. At halftime, comma, our opponents were ahead by 2. Shortly after, we managed to tie the game. We had very little time left, and we knew we had to play well. The audience was cheering loudly. They could feel the tension in the air. So if you look at this sentence, it's a long sentence without and, so you put a comma in its place. The audience was cheering loudly, comma, they could feel the tension in the air. Next sentence, David, extra information, our captain, could have even put it in brackets if you wanted to, but we're talking about commas. He called a timeout. We gathered around and our coach said, again, your direct speech there, comma, you can do it, comma, play smart. So sometimes we go, you can do it and you must play smart, but in order to shorten a sentence, we just say, you can do it, play smart, and you separated that with a comma. We didn't want to let our coach or fans down. Just then, comma, David kicked the ball, comma, the crowd went wild. So instead of placing a full stop, we can use commas as well. The ball went right through the net. Then the buzzer went to signal the end of the game. Much to our surprise, comma, we won in the last 2 minutes of the game. So I hope that you managed to get most of them there. And then we've come to almost the end. I want to recap by playing a video, and I really hope you'll enjoy it. It's quite a cute one that you could re-watch over and over again just to recap and see what you remember. So here we go.
I use a comma. Yeah, Blazer Fresh. Yo, Rasheen. What up, Xavier.
Hey, what's going on?
Y'all ready to get it poppin', comma style? For sure. Let's hit it. With so much drama in the 4, 5, 6, I drop a comma in the sentence like a ton of bricks. There's a lot of instances where I gotta use one. Blazer Fresh is here to eliminate the comma blue. I use a comma. 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 I use one. I use a comma to separate 3 or more words in a list. I'm maxing, relaxing, the cool, you get the gist. I use a comma after introductory words such as yes and well.
Yes, I'm wearing cologne. How can you tell?
I use a comma to separate adjectives 2 or more.
OnStar is a charming, fun fellow on the day.
I use a comma before conjunction to join independent clauses.
I like enormous words, and I like pauses.
This is awkward.
I like it.
With so much drama in the 4, 5, 6, I drop a comma in the sentence like a ton of bricks. There's a lot of instances where I gotta use one. Blazer Fresh is here to eliminate the comma blue. I use a comma. 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 I use
use one.
I use a comma on either side of an appositive.
Savior, the optimist is always so positive.
I use a comma when I address someone that helps us understand.
Excuse me, Rasheed, when you raise the roof, put up
I
your
use
hand.
a comma between the name of a city and the state.
San Francisco, California's got this bridge to Golden
I use
Gate.
a comma when I quote.
She said, I only hike a mountain when I'm with my mountain goat.
I use a comma when I write the day between the day and year.
January 1st, 1735. Happy birthday, boy.
With so much drama in the 456, I drop a comma in the sentence like a ton of bricks. There's a lot of instances where I gotta use one. Blazer Fresh is here to eliminate the comma blue, son.
I use a comma. I use a comma.
I use a comma. I use a comma.
I use a comma. I use a comma.
I use me too. Hold the applause. You can also use a comma after a dependent clause. When I watch movies,
I like to eat seaweed.
when I make smoothies,
I put in a ton of flaxseed.
while you were out.
All I thought about was commas.
When spring break
I
comes,
wanna go to the Bahamas. I love spring break.
with so much drama in the 456, I drop a comma in a sentence like a ton of bricks. There's a lot of instances where I gotta use one. Blazer Fresh is here to eliminate the comma blue.
I use a comma. I use a comma. I use a comma.
I use a comma.
I use a comma. What? I use a comma. I use a comma.
I use one. I do. Ski bop, beep bop, a deep bibbly beep bop, beep bop. You gotta put the comma, put on the comma, come through the comma, drop the drama, no more drama. Say the drama for your mama and just stop. Come and use a comma. Ha, the sentence. If it's sent, it could get tense. What your sentence is, then use the comma.
Right, I hope you enjoyed that. As you saw, there were one or two that were slightly different that I didn't tell you about. So, for example, like if you live in Randburg, comma South Africa, or Cape Town, comma South Africa. So remember those. And then the other one I wanted just to remind you about, it's also to do with fanboys or other conjunctions. So when you start with a conjunction, when we get home, comma, we will have a sleep. Or whether it rains or not, comma, we will still go out. So make sure that when you start with a conjunction, you can also put a comma in. And in grade 7, you'll learn a little bit more about independent and dependent clauses. Right, so we've come to the end. So this is our wrap up. Remember, at the end, you always can go and look for your activities. And then if you have any questions about today's lesson, commas, specifically punctuation dealing with commas, you can email me at grade6@worksheetcloud.com. And then just remember that little comma, don't you need me? Aren't I helpful, faithful, and replaceable? Yes, the comma is important. We do need it. So don't forget about it. And so thanks again for watching, grade 6s, and I'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Bye, everybody.